All right, so I have for you guys a really cringe JD Vance ad. I have no idea why he chose to run this. It's goofy. It's weird. But let's take a look.
Are you a racist? Do you hate Mexicans? The media calls us racist for wanting to build Trump's wall. They censor us, but it doesn't change the truth. Joe Biden's open border is killing Ohioans, with more illegal drugs and more Democrat voters pouring into this country. This issue is personal. I nearly lost my mother to the poison coming across our border. No child should grow up an orphan. I'm JD Vance, and I approve this message because whenever they call us, we will put America first.
What? Are you a racist? Do you hate Mexicans? Now, I get it. He's saying that to be like, we're not racist and we don't hate Mexicans. Like, we just want a strong border and stuff like that. But, hey, Dippy, go look at the actual numbers. First of all, when Biden was vice president, they called Obama the deporter-in-chief. He deported more people than any president in American history. Now, under Biden, we have Remain in Mexico in place. That's a Trump-era policy. He's copying Trump on the border in many respects. Until, I think, very recently, the courts struck down Title 42, but Biden was using Title 42 to deport people without due process as well. So the argument is, hey, we're in a pandemic. We don't have time for this due process thing. If somebody comes to the country illegally, we're just going to ship them right out because it's a health threat or whatever. Biden was doing Remain in Mexico and Title 42. He was deporting a colossal number of people. So he was doing the policies that you say you want. And they just, what do? They just say, Biden's open border. Biden's open. What are you talking about? These people don't care about facts. He is a narrative humper. Biden's a Democrat, and Democrats are weak on the border, so I'm just going to say Biden has an open border, even though he doesn't have an open border at all, by any stretch of the imagination. If anything, he's deporting way too much, and he's skipping due process and all that. And then he talks about, my mom died because of the poison coming across our border. You want to talk about, look, so we had, like an opioid epidemic in the country, right? Right. Then they cracked down on the opioids. And to fill that gap, now there's fentanyl that's killing people. There's an argument that that's sort of what killed Michael K. Williams. There's an argument that killed Philip Seymour Hoffman. That definitely killed Mac Miller. And so the problem is when you crack down on the pills, then you get the counterfeit pills, and the counterfeit pills could have fentanyl, and the fentanyl is way more powerful than, Percocet, Vicodin, in even heroin. And so people overdose accidentally. So the real if you seriously want to talk about this solution, the solution is to legalize, tax, and regulate. The solution is to have quality control of the substances that we're putting in our body. That's the solution. JD Vance is talking about it like, if we just crack down on the border harder, everything will work out. No, that's not the way it works at all. These people are unserious when it comes to drug policy in this country because we learned about this through Prohibition too. You banned alcohol, so then alcohol was made illegally on the black market. Crime spiked. The mafia got much more powerful. They made alcohol in bathtubs. Sometimes you got bad batches and people died from it. When you legalized alcohol, it was a much better situation for everybody. Crime dropped and there were no more deaths from bad batches. It's the same thing with the drugs. But instead of talking about this in a serious way, here's the policy that maybe would fix the problem, right? He doesn't do it. He just demagogues about the border and demagogues about like Mexicans coming in the country as he pretends like he's not. Like, I'm not a racist. I don't hate Mexicans. But let me tell you why a policy of like keeping out undocumented immigrants who are south of the border, why that's the right policy. It's just, oh God, it's so stupid. Everything about it is so stupid. Ugh. And then really, like, you could argue the problem was Big Pharma getting people hooked on the opioids in the first place. So why are you blaming like random Mexicans? What? Talk more about Big Pharma. Talk more about the policy solutions to the crisis. Fewer people were dying before we cracked down on the pills than are dying now. So I know, crazy fact, and it's an inconvenient one for people in their narrative, but nonetheless, he moves forward. What a dumb ad. Are you racist? Do you hate Mexicans? I'm going to do the right policy no matter what the media calls me. But that's not going to fix the problem. And by the way, is a fact that a lot of people on the far right don't know. If you look at the numbers, both documented immigrants and undocumented immigrants commit crime at a much lower rate compared to American citizens. Nope, can't talk about that because we just want to portray them as criminals and all MS-13 and like they're the problem in the country. It's classic scapegoating. The problem is not somebody who has a lot less power than you do and a lot less money than you do. The problem is the corporations and the billionaires and the owner class are ripping people off and rigging the rules and the laws in their favor and keeping working people down. This guy's just feeding the divide and conquer mentality. This guy, wants you to scapegoat Mexicans and the border problem for all of our problems. It's absurd. It's absurd. Are you racist? Do you hate Mexicans? And then he pretends Biden has an open border when Biden, if anything, is deporting way too many and skipping due process. Every aspect of this ad is pathetic. And by the way, this guy is extra desperate because he's getting draxed by some little smug prick named Josh Mandel. Like, just getting obliterated. This is a guy who tweets hilariously stupid things, but he's more of a Trump-like Republican, and J.D. Vance is, like, trying so hard to out-Trump him, and he comes up with shit like this. You're so desperate, and you reek of it, and it's obvious. Reel it in, dude. Reel it in. Ever since Adpocalypse, when YouTube defunded all independent news and politics overnight, we haven't trusted them. We know they can pull the rug out from underneath us at any time. If you enjoy this content, please consider tipping $1 or $2 per month on the Secular Talk Patreon. Link in the video description box below. Thanks for your support.